Hey guys, Coda Boy 32 is asking about how we feel about the red flag laws that are going on right now in the United States of America. Well, one of the things is our lawyers and politicians, they don't follow the Constitution. And that's one of the big things that's going on in this world right now. That's why we have so much trouble in trying to keep law and order, is because there is no justice. So anyway, what we're going to talk about is how things got started here. Well, Blackstone has always been the cornerstone of all the law in the United States. Written by William Blackstone, the famous English jurist, commentaries form the core of American jurisprudence before, both, and after the ratification of the United States Constitution, said Parker, who was first elected to the High Court of Alabama in 2004 and re-elected 6 years later. Now in Tom Parker's law office, he proudly displays a 4-volume 1773 edition of commentaries on the laws of England. An introduction and a reprint from the University of Chicago Press begins with a startling sentence. Sir William Blackstone's commentary on the law of England, 1765 to 1769, is the most important legal thesis ever written in the English language. In fact, according to a monumental 10-year study of founding-era political documents conducted by the University of Houston's political science professor, Blackstone was the third on the list of the most quoted sources. Only the Bible represented 34% of cited sources, and political philosopher Charles D. Montesquieu or something was higher than Blackstone. Now, if you look at our Constitution, if you read it, you'll find out some things. Sorry, I got ahead of myself here. Primacy of natural laws. While Blackstone's books were the foundation to American law when the nation was established, the process of hollowing out Blackstone's influence began almost 150 years ago. Why did this happen? The short answer is that Blackstone was rejected because Blackstone's ideas were rooted in Judeo-Christian view of the world. Now, before I go too far here, I want to get this date in here. It's January 28th, 2015. Now, oh yeah, maybe I can... Okay. God designed the world to express certain ideas and to operate under certain laws, and this theory is called natural law. The influence of Blackstone and other thinkers of a similar vein led to the familiar founding sentiment, such as the mention of the laws of nature and nature's God in the Declaration of Independence. If you don't believe me, go look it up. These laws apply to humanity as well. When he created man and imbued him with a free will to conduct himself in all parts of life, he laid down certain immutable laws of human nature. He said in an interview with the journal, in addition to creating mankind, God also gave him the faculty of reason to discover the purpose of those laws. Human laws are therefore the product of people comprehending God's purpose and fashioning their own regulations of human conduct to reflect the divine will. Then we had a nitwit come along here. Following the Civil War, however, some influential individuals embraced a new idea, the Darwin evolution. Darwin kind of reminds me of another nitwit called Al Gore. He invented global warming. So anyway, after the following Civil War, Darwin's idea of the origin of species, published by Darwin in 1859, had a huge impact on the movers and shakers who saw no room in American jurisprudence for Blackstone's God-based view of nature. So, there was really a deliberate effort by the president of the Harvard University, Charles Eliot, at the time, to change things, to introduce evolution into the teaching of law, said Parker. So he hired Christopher Langdale as dean of Harvard Law School from 1870 to 1895, and who changed from using Blackstone's commentaries that had immutable principles to a case law approach, which means they studied the writing of judges. This process of changing American jurisprudence, a process that, while admittedly slow, would eventually succeed over the following decades. That they were able to do with a change of focus from God, who gave immutable principles, Parker said, to the judge, the man who was writing the law. By studying case laws over time, they were able to show an evolution of law. Further advance of the Darwin impulse in law came with the influence of the U.S. Supreme Court Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. It was an astounding long time there, Parker said. He served 30 years, from 1902 until he retired in 1932. A long career enabled him to have quite an impact on the law when his ideas tickled the fancy of so many out there who embraced them. Holmes is perhaps best known for The Path of Law, an article that appeared in the Harvard Law School, Harvard Review in 1897. In the article, Holmes said, he often doubted whether it would be not a gain for every word of moral significance could be banished from the law altogether. In other words, adoption which could convey ideas uncolored by anything outside the law. Throughout his infamous article, Holmes made a complete break from Blackstone in the past. Parker said morality was separated from jurisprudence, human expertise and reason were divorced from natural law, and obviously from nature's God. Absolute truth was denied, and the responsibility for determining the truth was placed firmly in the hands of the judges. Holmes' article had a far-reaching effect. This is a point in time in American history when the law pivoted, Parker said. It changed. From that point on, judges began to accrue power in the American political experiment. Now this is an important part here, people. In my constitutional law class at Vanderbilt University, one of the better law schools in the country, we never read the Constitution, Parker said. We only read what judges said about it. I'm going to do that again. In my constitutional law class at Vanderbilt University, one of the better law schools in the country, we never read the Constitution. We only read what judges said about it. So this should be no surprise. If there's no absolute truth in a universal sense, why should there be any consideration given by judges for their original intent of the architects of the Constitution? You see what they're saying here? They're changing things around and they're doing away with the original intent of the architects of the Constitution because these people don't study it. They only study what judges said. Judicial activism became common because judges became a law unto themselves. I want that to stick in your mind. Okay, when an ideally alien to the Founding Fathers has not clearly taken root and changed many fundamentals in jurisprudence and elsewhere, were really hopeful for the future. The reason? There was a shift that began 35 years ago for a counterculture movement within American jurisprudence. There was an obvious move of the Holy Spirit to the legal community in the late 1970s and early 1980s. Lawyers across the country simultaneously were filing lawsuits in defense of religious liberty. However, there was no coordination between them. Out of the movement arose a new generation of legal defense groups such as the American Center for Law and Justice, Liberty Counsel, Alliance Defending Freedom, Liberty Institute, Pacific Justice Institute, and others. Christian law schools began to crop up, like the Regent University, Liberty University, and elsewhere. So, the group of lawyers who were moved by the Holy Spirit took action and created institutions that will have a long-reaching effect. Their legal training is being provided through these Christian law schools, gives the Americans hope. There are brilliant legal scholars out there, and they're coming out of these law schools. Let's see. All right. Well, many Christians have come to see the need to return to the founding principles in law. There remains a large percentage of the Christian community that doesn't want to get involved in politics and culture. And that is a cause of expiration for Parker. But if they don't, society's just going to go downhill. But here's the thing, people. Darwin activists like Lamb, Dill, and Holmes commenced the process of overturning the founding principles and refashioning American jurisprudence. All this was begun without once asking for the permission of the citizens over whom the new laws would rule. People who love the Founding Fathers and the bedrock principles of America should at least fight back against this process and try to reverse it. Like I said, people, things have changed. They stopped this stuff of in his constitutional law class at Vanderbilt University, one of the better law schools in the country. We never read the Constitution, Parker said. Only what judges said about it. And that lets the judges become a law unto themselves. They're not going by the Constitution, they're going by what other judges said. And it makes those judges a law unto themselves. That's why we're having such a hell of a time in the United States of America to get something passed. Okay, I just wanted to get that out there. I went slow this time because I usually go pretty fast and I miss a lot of things and probably misspell a lot of things. But I just wanted you people to know, you talk about the red flag laws and what's going on in the United States of America, and this is part of it. They don't study the Constitution. They study what other judges say about it. Thanks for watching, guys.